You're listening to Forever Fierce with Catherine Grace O'Connell, only on LA Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Forever Fierce Revolution. I am Catherine Grace O'Connell, and we are kicking off Men's Health Month in a big way this month. We've had a couple incredible guests, and today it isn't every day that you get to have someone on your show who has been here for almost a century. So first, let me introduce my co-host, Michael Castagna, who is back again. Go Irish Photog, my photographer, business manager, my personal Sherpa, all those things.
I'm coming out of retirement specifically for this guest because I know I've got a lot to learn here.
Exactly. I mean, who wouldn't? So sitting next to me, I want to introduce you to Jerry Rosenblum. Jerry Rosenblum has, I guess, exploded on social media without actually participating directly in social media. He has his darling, this is Jerry Rosenblum, who is almost a century. He is 96 and a half years old, and this is his partner in crime, bridging the gap partner and social media partner and best friend and adopted great-granddaughter, Katie Miller. So I want to welcome Jerry Rosenblum and Katie Miller to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, it was amazing finding you guys. And I don't know if it was, did you send me the video? Somebody sent me Jerry's video singing on social media. And also I think there was one with like neck exercises, you know, giving sort of his.
That's what the first thing
that was the first one.
I sent you the neck exercise.
And I'm like looking at him like, oh my, what is this? I mean,
that's my routine when I wake up in the morning.
It's your routine.
Okay, yes. Before you leave, you need to teach me because I have such neck and arm problems. So you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be able to move when I'm 96, and you move pretty darn quick, so.
I'll show you.
Right.
I don't know that our show is long enough to give you all the secrets that Jerry Rosenblum would have to share today, but having lived, you know, almost 100 years, I would imagine you have quite a few things to share with our audience about life, longevity, positivity, everything.
I've seen a lot in 96 and a half years, because when I think back, Calvin Coolidge was president.
Calvin Coolidge, most of those guys out here.
Coolidge.
Who the heck is Calvin Coolidge?
So I lived through an awful lot of administrations, you see. But, you know, recently I attended a book signing, and the writer was asked a question. Someone in the audience asked him a question. He's actually a couple of years younger than me, see. And they asked him, in your opinion, who was the greatest president that the United States have had, see? And he said something that I agree with. He said Franklin Delano Roosevelt, see. And of course everybody applauded, you see. But it was that person's way of finding out how old this gentleman is. He didn't want to say, how old are you, you know? He didn't want to do that. So he went a roundabout way, see. I thought that was very clever the way he did.
Now, why was FDR your favorite president?
I'm sorry?
Why was FDR your favorite president?
Well, you know, he took office when the country was in the throes of a terrible depression. His previous president, Herbert Hoover, did nothing about it. And at the time that he took office, there were 15 million unemployed in this country. People were standing on soup lines and kitchens and selling apples in the street. They did anything to bring money home, you see. So things were very, very rough. And my dear departed father, see, was a New York taxi cab driver. And after the 1929 crash, the stock market crash, there was no money. Nobody had money to ride in taxi cabs. So poor man worked 12, 14 hours a day to try to bring home money, you know, to keep a roof over our head and food on the table, see. Unfortunately, he was a heavy smoker, see. So, and nobody knew how dangerous cigarettes were back then. And he passed at age 42 from a heart attack. See? And they attributed it to the cigarettes.
Yeah.
See?
And you were young. You were 13 at the time?
I was 12.
12.
I was 12. My little brother was 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you had to take over.
So those were rough times. And reason I mentioned Franklin Roosevelt as being a great president is because he realized that there's a lot of people who were destitute. They were this far away from living in the street. So he established a welfare system for people like us, see. And it wasn't much, but it was enough to keep a roof over your head and food on the table, see. And I remember shortly after we went on relief, they called it relief in those days, there was a knock on the door, and a woman came in, and she said, "I'm an inspector. We want to see how you live here," because she was working for the agency that handled the relief checks. And I remember she actually opened our refrigerator to see if we had steak in the freezer. And all we had was chopped meat. We were existing on meatballs and spaghetti. So she was satisfied that we were doing the proper thing with the money, you know.
Well, this was a life-changing experience for you, Jerry. I mean, you come across on social media as the most positive, upbeat person on the planet. Yet you've been through some really, really rough times.
Well, you see, Catherine, when I think of where I was and where I am now, see, I am so thankful, so thankful. I'm living in a senior residence with people who are walking with canes and walkers, see, and I do use a cane occasionally, see, because my balance is not exactly what it should be, see. But for the most part, I leave the cane in the car, and I'm still driving, of course, see.
Yeah, you want to share that? You're still driving. You're still driving.
Oh, yes.
And you got your driver's permit, and just renewed till you're 101. You're good till 101.
Yes.
Good till 101.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And you know, a lot of people don't know this, but these are true statistics. And you can punch it up on your smartphone. There are over 70,000 people in the United States right now, as we speak, that are 100 plus.
Really?
Really.
Well,
so
I've
there's
met
hope
one.
for everybody.
I've met what, almost 100. I shouldn't say 100 plus. I've met someone. You're the oldest person I have ever met, and the coolest oldest person I've ever
you.
met.
She'll have to meet Peggy, won't she?
Peggy.
Peggy's Jerry's sidekick.
Oh,
she
really?
Is just turned 100.
There's a lady who lives in
2
my
days ago.
building.
Oh, you have a
who just had
lady.
her 100th birthday Thursday, see? And she had a party for her family and friends, see? And I was invited. Katie was invited too. And I got to sing 3 songs at her party, see? And she herself is very sharp. She would make a wonderful subject for your program.
I'm sure she would.
Mine is
We're gonna
clear
have
as
to.
a
We're gonna
bell.
have
You'll
to
have to
meet
bring
her.
Peggy on.
And
Yes.
after everybody,
Maybe we'll get you both on
after
there.
her children and grandchildren spoke, you know, they had a microphone. It must have been close to about 75 people in that room.
Yeah.
I'm not exaggerating. And it ended up where she got the microphone and spoke for 15 minutes without notes, and whatever she said made a lot of sense. See? And I was admiring her. I thought to myself, my goodness, this is wonderful. And just coincidentally, this woman knew my mother. She knew my mother. They were
Really?
buddies, yeah. See? By the way, my mother, God rest her soul, was on the old Gong Show. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
that.
I do.
I do remember the Gong
I was
Show,
at,
yeah.
I was
My
at Alex
mother was on the
Trebek.
Gong
Was
Show. Now
that
you're
it?
talking about things.
No, that
Yeah,
was
no, who was it?
Richard.
My
Richard.
positive thinking comes from my mother, and I will tell you why. Give you an
Richard
example.
Dawkins. Dawson. Richard Dawson. Yeah,
See?
that's who it was.
Gene,
She was
the
invited
dancing
to go on the
machine.
Gong Show. See, she sang Never on Sunday. See? You can kiss me on a Monday, remember that? Well, anyway,
Did they gong her? Or they let her go.
No, she didn't get the gong. In
Oh,
fact,
nice.
the show was so good they did it again, and she got residuals.
Really?
Yes. But here's what happened. You see, the day I dropped her off at the NBC studios in Burbank, see, it was 8 o'clock in the morning. She had to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they keep you all day long. See? They don't let you out. I had to open the store in the Century Plaza Hotel. I was managing a store, and I had to be there at 9 o'clock. So I said, Mom, I just gave her a few words there. I said, Mom, try not to be nervous. She says, what do you mean? I said, well, you know, you're going to be singing in front of an audience, see? You're going to have an MC on the stage. There's 3 judges judging the talent. There's going to be an orchestra there accompanying you. She said, look, Jerry, she says, I rehearse. I know what I'm going to do. She says, they don't know what's coming. Let them be nervous. Talk about confidence.
There you
Talk
go.
about confidence. I love that.
So she sang, and she didn't win the grand prize, but she came close, see? And as I say, the program was so good they repeated it, and she got residuals. Milton Berle, Soupy Sales,
Milton
and Ruth
Berle.
Buzzy were the judges.
Oh my
Oh,
God!
you're speaking
Well,
our,
okay,
you're speaking
now
our
that is
language.
now
Yeah,
that
I know,
is a
right? Here
trio,
we go. Katie
right?
always
Says
says these names
what?
all
I
the
bought
time.
her a beautiful caftan dress, you know, for that occasion, see? And when she got out on stage and started to sing, she sang to Milton Berle, see? And he said, my God, you know, she was 79 years old at the time.
Wow.
That's
And you know what's really funny is that show sounds like it's an absolute precursor to what Simon Cowell just did to.
Yeah,
basically he brought that show back, right?
version.
It's
Yeah,
exactly
in a different
like
form. In a different form. That's right.
Times have really
funny.
changed. I know I grew up with my dad with Lawrence Welk.
You know, one funny thing. I remember watching the program one day, and one of the judges gave one of the contestants the gong. See, after singing a song, he gave him the gong. Or before he finished the song, he gave him the gong. See, and the master of ceremony said, "Why did you do that?" He says, "Well," he said, "when some singers sing, they bring a tear to the eye. When he sings, he brings a tear to the ear."
Speaking of singing, should we just jump in?
Oh,
right?
let's
Should
hold
we
it off.
just-
No, you know what? Let
okay.
people know
we're
that
so
that's.
excited.
Let people know that's coming.
Okay, what a good idea. Okay,
Yeah.
so you guys, you are not going to want to go anywhere. I suppose you're right. We got to keep you guys
Yeah.
waiting for something really special.
That's the piece de resistance.
Well, yeah. Okay. There's something coming that is so incredibly special. It isn't every day, like I said, that you get somebody who's 96 and a half to sing for you. So
And
that
whose-
will
and
be
whose
coming.
mother
That will
sang
be-
on the Gong Show.
And we don't have a gong, and I don't plan to have a
No,
gong
no
because
gongs.
this is like the coolest thing ever. And Jerry, you got all duded up here for us today. This is like, I mean, check this out.
I thought this would be a good occasion to wear one of my new suits.
Yeah. So please share with us, your history. Obviously, you were in the men's clothing business. Clearly, you just had
53 years of the men's clothing business.
53 years, and you just had two new
And
custom
I know
suits.
every phase of it, every phase of
do?
it. From the buying of the clothing, the selling of the clothing, managing the store, see? And even fitting a garment. I can fit a garment as well as any fitter.
Well, you just did for yourself.
Yeah. Well, you know,
just fit two custom-made suits for yourself.
it makes me ask, you've spent 53 years in the men's clothing business. What the heck did you do with the other 50 years? No, just kidding. How did you get
He's been pretty quiet, just his feet up, I think.
How did you get started in men's clothing?
There was something that happened in 1941 that was called Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
See? And I was 19 at the time. See? Thousands ran to enlist and thousands ran for defense jobs. I was one of the people that ran for a defense job. See? And it turned out that I was working for a company that was making bullet dies. That's a mold for a bullet. And
Right.
what's more important in a war than bullets? So, considering I was the head of the family at 19, and working in a defense factory making bullet dies, I was deferred. My draft board deferred me, see. I was given classification 2B. And as late as early 1943, I was still working in the defense plant supporting my family, see. But I got a letter one day from a friend of mine who I knew who had also lost his father. And the letter came from Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor. He was working on the Pearl Harbor Navy Yard. He said, Jerry, if you want, he said, you can go over to the Navy Department on the Federal Building in downtown Manhattan in New York and tell them that you'd like to work at Pearl Harbor. If they accept you, you get 25% more pay, see, because it was still considered dangerous to work out there. They thought the Japanese would come
Sure.
back and bomb it again.
Right, of course.
So I thought, gee, they're going to get me anyway, I was in classification 2B, and at that time, Hawaii was considered the territory of the United States. It was not yet a state. So they knew where I was, see. Well, it just turned happened. I have an angel on my shoulder because my travel orders to go to Pearl Harbor came one day before my induction notice.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah. You see, the recruiter, the fellow that was talking to me at the Navy Department said, look, now that you volunteered to go to Pearl Harbor, you're going to automatically be in classification 1A. That means you're ready for induction.
Right.
See? So just a race between who gets you, the draft board or the Navy Department. And you have to go to your draft board and let them know what you're doing. So I followed all his instructions. I went to the draft board, and the draft board told me the same thing. The race is on. Depends on what comes first, your travel orders or your induction notice. I got the travel orders one day before the induction notice. Now, how do I know that? When I got the travel orders, I went up to the draft board to show him I'm leaving for Hawaii. He said, you're one lucky SOB. He said, you see that stack of mail on my desk? Your induction notice is in there. You won the race.
Wow.
See?
You sure did.
But 6 months after I came out there, my draft board was drafting married men with children. And they sent me a 1A card. I took the card to the foreman of the shop, His name was Zapataki. I said, Zap, what's going to happen now?
Still remember his name.
Oh,
That
yes.
is every detail. Look at
remembers
Katie.
every detail of all
I
my
said,
cows. Oh
Zap,
my
what
God.
happens now? I'm one day. He said, don't worry about it, Rosie. He used to call me Rosie. See? Rosie, don't worry about it. There's 8 of you guys. By the way, I was working on Ford Island Naval Air Station. They didn't put me in the Navy Yard. Ford Island Naval Air Station as an aviation machinist 3rd class. See? So we were making parts for the planes that go up and fight the Japanese, you see, rather than send way back east, for a part, see? So I was doing important work. So he said, we're taking 8 of you guys that have 1A card, we're marching you down to Schofield Barracks, that's an army camp on the outskirts of Honolulu. You're going to submit to a physical. If you pass, you're going to be sworn into the Navy and put on inactive duty. You go back to the shop, no uniform, the regular pay. However, being that you're not serving in uniform, you're not entitled to any benefits. See? So that's what happened to me.
So then how did you transition into the clothing business?
That's a good question.
How do we go over there
After the war was over, I remember standing on the corner with 3 guys. The 4 of us were freezing. It was January. My blood was thinned out. It had been Hawaii.
It was almost your
for 2
birthday.
years,
Yeah, I know, right?
and we didn't have jobs. And we all decided to drive down to Florida from New York, see, and spend the winter down there working as bellhops.
Wow.
The first hotel I walked into, they hired me on the
What
spot.
was the hotel?
The hotel? The name of the hotel?
What city was it
What
in?
city were you in?
It'll come. It was on 27th Street.
I told
27th
you. Give him a
Avenue.
second.
It's
Miami?
still in existence
Were you-
today, by the
were
way.
you
The
in
hotel
Miami?
is still there.
Were you in Miami?
In Miami
Key
Beach.
Biscayne? No.
Miami?
Miami
No, not the
Beach.
Biscayne, but near the Biscayne.
Yeah, okay.
Near it.
That was, I used to spend a lot of time
See?
down there as a kid. So,
Well, anyway, I got a job working in the hotel, and to spend I worked there December, January, February, March, and in April I decided to go back home. See, there was a guest in the hotel who owned one of the finest men's clothing stores in Manhattan. It was on 47th Street and Broadway. See, Layton's was the name of the store. Upscale clothing. There had 3 floors, and he said, Jerry, when you come back to New York, I got a job for you. And he put me to work. But he didn't put me to work in the clothing department. I was putting tickets on shirts and things. I said, gee, this is not for me, But I liked the clothing business. I liked the idea that I could go to work dressed in a suit and a tie, because I was wearing overalls when I was working in the machine shop. See? So
you wanted to be with
I
the people.
remembered that I had bought some clothing in a clothing store. One of his competitors, about 10 blocks from there. I walked in and he said, Jerry, when can you start? I could use you, see? And I went to work for a store called Callan's Clothes. And 10 years later, I was managing the store. But this time it was a 6-story building with 4 selling floors. It was a
Wow.
much bigger operation.
Wow.
See?
And that's back in the day when men's clothing
That's
was
when men
it.
wore clothing.
Yes.
With a radius between 40th Street and 34th Street, 7th Avenue and Broadway, there were at least 20 men's leading clothing stores. Mind you, 20.
Heavy
See?
competition.
And the store that I was managing was the biggest operation in that area.
Yeah, I don't think men out there, young men, know about like a collection of ties and pocket scarves and
There
all
were young
these
men
things.
that don't know how to tie a knot in their tie.
Well, some of them come with those clip-ons, right?
Right.
We don't do clip-ons.
Right.
So now, Katie, we have Katie right next to you. Obviously, you guys have an amazing, amazing story. So who would like to share how you guys connected?
Well, I'll tell you.
Jerry can.
I'll tell you how I met Katie. God bless her. She's a 1 in a billion, and I have something in my wallet right here that proves it.
And he's probably a guy that knows a billion people, so
He
right?
certainly
Yeah.
knows
Yeah.
a billion
He
people,
does.
that's for sure.
Oh, here we go.
I'm
Katie
actually
is
not
one of
sure
the
what you're
billion.
about to pull
Are you
out.
showing us your driver's license? Or?
I'm not quite sure. what-
We've got a surprise
I know
coming.
what
We've
he's
got a
pulling
surprise
out.
coming.
Yeah, well, I have it
Yeah,
here
you don't have
somewhere.
it.
Well, anyway,
He'll get to it.
I'll tell you
Get
how
to
I met
it.
Katie.
Get to it.
All right.
Okay.
Katie used to work down the street from where I lived, see, in marketing. And every Friday evening at 6 o'clock, after she got through working, before having dinner, she would come into our residence and help the seniors with their questions on how to operate their iPads and their iPhones, and how to get an Uber taxi and so on and so forth, you know? And I just sat there amazed because I'm not a computer person. I couldn't care less. I use the U.S. mail, the telephone, I get along fine.
I can vouch for that.
But I couldn't help but admire how pleasant she was with the seniors. So graciously and smiled and was so helpful to them, and they appreciated it so much. I couldn't get over how wonderful she was. I thought, my goodness, this girl deserves a medal, you know? And she came over to me because I was in the room, and she asked me if I have any questions. I said, honey, don't waste your time with me because you help the seniors. I have zero interest in computers, you know? And that's how we got acquainted. See? That's how we got acquainted.
You were 92 at the time, I think.
92.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, it was 4 years ago.
4.5 years ago.
4.5 years ago.
Wow. So, Katie, share what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so the reason I started volunteering there is just because I'm very close with my own grandparents. My friends have always joked that I'm a senior at heart. I just love senior citizens. And when I moved to Los Angeles 5 years ago, I was missing that piece. I had always volunteered middle school, high school, college. So it was funny, I was Googling like senior homes I could volunteer at. Didn't even realize that his home was a senior home because it just says Silvercrest over it. My coworkers were like, first of all, you're weird for wanting to volunteer. Second of all, right down the street is a senior home. So I walked in and said like, hey, can I fill an application? And they joked, or like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one, what do you want to do? And I was like,
Yeah.
play bingo, teach technology.
You start right now, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, sure, come whenever you want. So that's kind of how I started going. And instantly when I met Jerry, I was like, this guy is so special. He has so much to teach me and just always brought a smile to my face. So I would always go visit him first since you didn't want to come to the technology class. So I'd visit him, sit with him while he ate dinner, got to know some of his friends as well, and then I would go into the library and start helping the seniors with technology. So, and then it was just friendship from there.
And that was it.
Yeah.
You guys have had parties. You've had, you're already talking about the next party. But share, like, you put on a party for Jerry. Jerry put on a party for you.
So, yeah, well, our friendship started blooming. He got to know a lot of my friends and family. I got to know his family. And then, when was his first? I actually didn't start his Instagram until this past August, so it hasn't even been a year yet.
Hard to believe. He's got a following.
He has almost 12,000. If you guys want to follow him, it's at Jerry_Rosenblum.
At
Jerry underscore Rosenblum. Get that on your phone now.
Follow.
Now.
But I actually had this is a really great story. I had been working in Amsterdam for Uber. I do marketing for Uber for 5 months. Almost a year ago already. I came back in August, and the day I got back, Jerry had invited me to go to dinner with him. I showed up at dinner, and he had thrown me a huge surprise party with my friends and coworkers. It was so sweet. I was completely shocked. We had a nice dinner party. He had written song lyrics for all of my friends to sing a welcome home song for me. It was so sweet. And then, what was after that? Yeah, and then his birthday was in January, so I threw him another surprise karaoke birthday party.
Jerry's, there's a little, if you guys are on Jerry_Rosenblum, you can definitely see the picture of the celebration with the balloons in '96. And this is just what I haven't had a letter. This is how Jerry corresponds. You know, every time we bring a guest on, we ask for some information, a photo and a bio, and Katie operates email and the Instagram and social media and all of that, but Jerry still operates like via good old-fashioned snail mail, and that is how we grew up. And I got to tell you, when you called us up and you were like, Catherine, did you get my letter? And I'm like, your letter, Jerry? And he goes, yeah, I mailed it to the station. You asked for a bio and some, photograph. And I had the biggest smile on my face, and every day I kept getting more mail. And this is the coolest thing ever. So if I could tell you guys anything, like, this is the way we connect.
Send somebody a letter.
Send somebody a letter.
I will say that's something
God.
Wonderful too.
Yeah.
So leading up to Jerry's birthday was January 8th. So in December, I posted on Jerry's Instagram. So actually, to back up, Jerry doesn't post things himself on Instagram because he's still learning technology. So I actually post for him, but then I read him all of his comments and show him the posts. Since I knew he wouldn't actually look at this, I posted a photo of myself holding a letter of Jerry's 96th birthday is coming up. He would love regular old snail mail. If you're willing and able, please send him a birthday card to this P.O. box. I was expecting maybe like 10 letters. How many total did we end up getting?
100.
Oh,
And they're still coming.
And
they're still coming. Recently, there was a big carton laying in front of my door, and I said, gee, I didn't order anything recently. Must be a mistake. I took it in, opened it up. There were 2 half gallons of ice cream in the carton, packed in dry ice that came all the way from Pennsylvania.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
I still have some in the freezer. I didn't use it up yet. I take a teaspoonful every now and then.
A man of moderation.
Are you like the celebrity
the most
of the
delicious
senior
ice cream
home?
I've ever eaten.
Oh, he definitely is.
You're the celebrity. You're it.
I've gotten T-shirts and cookies and chocolate bars and
I have a feeling you might be getting more things. So Jerry, if you could tell our audience, like, what would you love to have sent to you? And Katie, if you can share the P.O. box, we'll put it in the podcast as well. But what would you love to have sent? What's your dream to receive at the Senior Center?
Well, that's an interesting question. I haven't given it much thought, but I am enjoying the ice cream.
I think you also really enjoy just a simple getting a card. When he opens that P.O. box and sees he has another card, he gets so happy and he writes really back.
Oh, by the way, Katie, I forgot to tell you something, I paid up for that box. It's good until December 31st. I didn't want you laying out your hard. This girl works long hours.
Does she?
And I didn't want her paying for my
Well, I'm renewing
post
it the next
box.
time it's up.
She's going to renew it till you're 101.
Yeah,
you got
because
I just did it a couple of days ago.
You got 2 suits to get to lots of occasions, so there's going to be lots of P.O. box renewals. So do you want to share that P.O. box with our audience if you know it, Katie?
I do.
When we celebrated my 96th birthday, Katie handed me a key. I said, what's this? She said, this is for a post office box that I took out for you. You're going to be getting a lot of postcards.
That's great.
It's right around the corner from his home.
Now,
so he
here's what
checks
I've
it
been
himself.
doing. Here's what I did. When the article appeared in the paper recently, the one I just mailed you, I had 100 copies made because I saved all those postcards that these people sent me. And I'm gradually mailing a copy of this article to them.
That is
wonderful.
Yes. You're doing that?
Yes. I mailed out 15 so far. I just started, see?
So if you guys want to read this article, it's the Santa Monica Daily Press. It is your buddy, Jack Neuwirth.
Yes.
It's called Laughing Matters. And I believe you can get it online, too. I can always share it. We can post it, too, on the podcast thing. But it's all about Jerry's podcast debut at 96, about Jerry, about your relationship. And so if you guys want to send your own snail mail, he would love to get that. So, Katie, you want to share where we can do
His
that?
address is P.O. Box 474, 1653 7th Street, Santa Monica, California, 90401.
Awesome.
He would love it.
Keep that ice cream. Jerry wants 2 spoonfuls a day. So
what's your favorite flavor?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Really? Chocolate.
Yeah.
Okay.
He likes
Chocolate.
strawberry
And
and mint
that's one of
chocolate
the
chip,
flavors
too.
that they sent. Chocolate with little pieces of chocolate in the ice cream.
Double chocolate.
Double
Nice.
chocolate.
Double chocolate, right.
When I think of like my grandparents
By
growing
the
up,
way, this ice cream came from the University of Pennsylvania. They have an ice cream factory
knew?
there.
Do they really?
I couldn't get over
Who
it. Yes.
who knew? Well, if you guys have a favorite flavor of chocolate with like little pieces or anything, send it on to Jerry. When I think of my grandparents, I always open the freezer and they had spumoni.
Oh,
Like
I love
spumoni.
yes.
See?
Yes.
It's probably even spumoni. No, most people now would
yes,
not know what
yes.
spumoni
No,
was.
you know what I used to hate? I used to hate the vanilla chocolate and strawberry because I only liked the chocolate, so I would never eat
See,
the
I
vanilla
like the
and
vanilla. We
strawberry.
could share a
go.
tub
Yeah,
together.
we would have been all right. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. So Katie, now, how did the whole social media? I know there was this song that went viral. Can you share? That's a really sweet story. Hillary Clinton and all of that. Do you want to share how that happened?
Can I sing the song to you
Wait,
that I wrote for Hillary Clinton?
You are.
Absolutely.
Do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to?
I'll do it
Go
a
ahead.
cappella.
Go
Yeah.
right ahead.
Yeah.
Acapella.
One day I woke up while Hillary was contemplating running for president. I woke up.
That was
early
1947, wasn't it?
I think it was 2015. 2015.
I think you're right.
And a tune popped into my head, and I thought, gee, why don't I write some words for that song and make it a campaign song for Hillary? See, the song was That Entertainment. See, the title of the song was from a motion picture that Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer made, see, years back. They used to make beautiful musical comedies, and what they did was splice the best scenes from some of their comedies and put it all together in one reel, and they called it That's Entertainment. That was the name of the movie.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And the song goes like this, see, that I wrote for Hillary. I've heard all the candidates speak, and I think there is one who's unique. She's the one who I can't wait to meet. That's Hillary Clinton. She's smart and very capable too, and I'm sure she'll do the right thing for you. So when you vote, you know what to do. Vote Hillary Clinton. Integrity, experience, she has it all. As Secretary of State, she traveled the world, and if she's elected, it will benefit all. So don't dilly-dally, let's all start a rally, don't hesitate. She's the one you should choose, no one else can fill her shoes. Give her your vote, and you won't sing the blues. So go to the polls and do as you're told and vote for Hillary. And maybe someday, when you're old and gray, you'll vote for Chelsea.
That's my favorite part. So the best part is
so
Jerry,
cute.
for one of my visits, I come over and he's...
So shortly after I wrote the words to that song, I picked up a newspaper one day, and there's an advertisement of Hillary doing a book signing at the Barnes & Noble store in the Grove. And I thought, oh my God, this is so perfect, because by then I had that song I just sang on a disc, see, with a musical accompaniment. I thought, my God, I'm going to buy the book, she'll autograph it, and I'll hand her that disc, see? Then I thought, well, if I'm going to go down there for a book signing, I better get down there real early in the morning, because there'll be a line of 500 people in front of me.
What time did you go?
I got there at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Did you
7
drive there?
I got the Grove.
Of course.
There was
Drove
no
it.
one there.
He drove to the
I
Grove.
parked my car in
7
front of
a.m.
Maggiano's restaurant in the handicap spot. And I thought, where is everybody at 7 o'clock in the morning? you know?
Wait. Do you get to
I
park in a
started to
handicap?
walk-
Yeah, I know, right? I know. What?
I started to walk to the Barnes Noble store, and I saw a security guard waving me this way. See, so I followed his directions, and guess what? He put me on a line where there were 500 people in front of me. 500 people. I thought, Jerry, what are you doing here? You know, after all, I think I was 92 years old at the time. See, I said, you'll have to wait in that hot sun. It was June 19th, and the sun was beating down. I said, I better go home. But then I thought, what the heck, I'm here already. I might as well stay, you know, not knowing that I'd have to stand on line 7 hours.
7
hours. 7
Holy
hours. See?
moly, wow.
Well, here's what happened. You see, we stood on line for 4 hours, and I got friendly with a couple of young ladies that were in the
You
line.
really?
See?
You know, Jerry, it's too bad you didn't like Trump, because there would only been 5
after
people
4
in
hours, I
line.
needed the men's room, so I excused myself, and they said, don't worry, we'll let you back in line, you know? When I came back, my group had gone into the Barnes & Noble store, so I called over a security guard, and I said, you know, I was in that line, and then my group is in. She said, you wait right here, we'll escort you in. And sure enough, they brought me right into the store, and one of the girls that I was talking to said, Jerry, don't worry, we'll watch you the book. I took out my wallet, want to pay? Oh, no. She says, it's on this. There's an expression now, pay it forward. No,
Yeah.
do somebody else a favor like we did for you.
Good
It was
for you.
$30 involved. Wouldn't let me pay. So now I got the book, and they put a wristband around your wrist to prove that you were online for
Right.
4 hours, see? Now you stand online at the front of Maggiano's restaurant.
For
see?
another 3.
Another 3 hours.
Do you get another wristband?
While I
or-
was standing there, a woman came out of Maggiano's restaurant and said, would you like a chair? I said, I'd love a chair. So I sat down in the chair, and she handed me a $10 gift certificate from Maggiano's, my future purchase. When I sat down, I see a woman standing, about 5 people in front of me, with crutches, 2 crutches. Walked over and said, let's share this chair, you and I. See? So that's what happened. Now, after 7 hours, line started to move into the bookstore. So I went up the escalator. I see Secret Service people running around. They look right through you, you know? See? You just don't walk up to Hillary, you know? So anyway, I got to the 3rd floor, and I could see Hillary in the distance signing, see? And I had the disc in my hand, you know, in an envelope. And the Secret Service woman came over to me. I was next to 3 more people in front of me. She said, what's in that envelope? I said, I wrote a campaign song for Hillary. Want to give it to her? She said, give it to me, and I'll make sure she plays it. I had to give it to her.
Yeah.
And when I got up in front of Hillary, you're Hillary and I'm here.
Yeah.
I said, you know, Hillary, I was a young man when I got on this line. She busted out laughing. She said, I know what you mean. See? So anyway, guess what? She finally heard the song.
So can I jump
and
in?
she sent me a...
Can I jump
Katie,
in, Jerry?
Yes, of course.
Because this is the funniest thing. So
Yes.
he tells me this and goes, I gave my compact disc to someone on Hillary's team, but I guess they didn't like the song. So he just assumed that they listened to it and didn't like it. And I said, Jerry, in today's age, I bet you they didn't even have a disc player. I bet you they didn't even listen to it. I said, can I film you singing the song and put it on YouTube? And he was like, what's that? So I filmed him. Obviously, it was a huge hit. Put him on YouTube. Started tweeting at a lot of her huge followers and everything. Ended up going viral. Time magazine picked it up. Bustle picked it up. Hillary herself tweeted it and put it on her Facebook. And then she ended up sending you something in the mail.
Sending me two letters.
We have one right here.
Yeah,
Right
we got a
here.
letter from Hillary
Yes.
right there.
Hey, there's one of them right there.
One of them right here.
Yeah.
This is from Hillary. It says,
Yeah.
I heard the wonderful song, saw the delightful video you recorded for me and my campaign. Thank you so much. Absolutely loved it. Grateful for your enthusiasm support. I mean, it's not every day, you know. Sincerely yours, Hillary Clinton, for heaven's sakes. And Time Magazine. And oh my God. So what's this been like for you, Jerry? And Katie. I mean, both of you guys. This is like...
You know, people say to me, Jerry, when you look back on your years, when was the best time? I tell them, right now. Right now.
And
I'm
shouldn't
having
that always
more
be the
fun
answer?
now. Since I met Katie, God bless her, than I ever did. I really mean it.
Yeah.
See?
Well, actually,
And I do take 3 classes at the Emeritus College, see?
how long
Voice
before you get your
instruction,
degree?
current events, and a movie class.
Really?
I am a movie buff, by the way. See, I love movies. Good movies.
Oh, he has a packed
We'll have to
schedule.
talk movies
He's a
someday.
pack. You try to fit
Oh yeah,
it.
my
You try to
friends joke
squeeze
that
in there.
he has more of a
he's busier
busy
than-
social schedule than I do. He's a hard man to schedule around.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
One of the things that Catherine did was something called Bridging the Gap, and it was really to bring different generations together, because so often we see in society generations tend to separate themselves, and, well, this is our generation, this is your generation, we don't see eye to eye. But her point was, you know, we're all stronger together, and there's no such thing as a mentor. There's reciprocal mentorship. Jerry, I'm sure you've learned a tremendous amount from Katie, and Katie, I'm sure you've learned. Isn't that just the epitome of an incredible relationship between the generations?
It really,
Well, you know,
is.
shortly after I met Katie, her family came out to visit her from Connecticut.
We're in Connecticut.
I met her mother
He's
and
from
father and
I'm
her
from
siblings.
Monroe.
All
And her
right.
siblings.
I'm from Putnam.
And I was honored to meet her family. She has a wonderful family. And I'm so glad that I got to meet them. I felt privileged.
Was your great grandmother single, or your grandmother single? Because I figured Jerry's kind of a
No,
ladies' man.
my grandparents.
Yeah,
are
you wanna
still
share my
way
chair?
less in
Yeah.
Connecticut, and they're actually in their early 80s. They're still
Oh,
young and fit. But and then
that's
my other
so
grandfather lives in Florida.
sweet. That's so sweet.
But to jump off what you were saying
Yeah.
is, I think what's been so inspiring for me and why I keep going with Jerry's Instagram, trying to make sure I post as much as possible, is we get so many messages of people that just say, like, this inspired me so much to go volunteer myself, or to go stop by a senior home and give an hour a week. And so hearing those warm stories, or someone that says, Jerry reminds me so much of my father that passed a few years ago, and seeing his smile every day brightens my day. Like, hearing those things just make me be like, oh, I need to keep doing this. We need to keep doing this. We need to keep putting hashtags so more people find him. So yeah, it's been really incredible.
It's so important, and I would imagine, Jerry, it keeps, I mean, not that you don't always have this incredibly youthful attitude, but the more we connect with each other and have this, you know, really friendship based in love and understanding and compassion and lifting one another, it's so special. And I would imagine many people out there who are alone would love to have somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's so true. That is so true.
So how do they do that? Say our audience out there, somebody's out there right now. You know, we have an audience of women really 35 and up. We have an audience of 20 to 80. How do they find someone? How do they connect?
You know, I'm fortunate in this respect. You see, here in Santa Monica, where I live, there's a thing called the Emeritus College. It's for seniors, 62 and older. It's a branch of Santa Monica College.
Oh, wow.
You see? And they offer courses. The courses are free. I always make a donation to the college, you know, each semester, see. It isn't much, but it helps, see. And by doing so, I choose courses that interest me, that I know I can do well with, see. As I say, one is a voice instruction class. It has to do with singing. They hand you a microphone. There's a pianist that accompanies you, and you sing to the other people in your class. If everybody shows up, there's about 35 people in the class. In fact, it's so big that some of them don't get a chance. Some of them don't get a chance to perform. See, so they're first in line the following week. You see, So that's one class. The other class is the current events class. I've always been interested in what's going on in the world. See, that's so important. Keep up with events. See, and the third class,
The film.
is a movie class.
Yeah.
A movie class. See, and I am a movie buff. And fortunately, the instructor that instructs the class, her name is Sheila Laffey. She's also a documentary maker.
Wow.
See? And just
Is she
this
going to do a
past-
documentary on you?
When's your
and
documentary?
just this past Wednesday, see, she played a documentary about a small country that borders with India. It's called Bangladesh. See, it's the size of New York State. Bangladesh is the size of New York State. And guess what? They have 150 million
Yeah, it's
population.
crammed in
Half
there,
the
so
population
poor.
of the United States fits into the
Entire state of
country
New
that
York.
is big as New York State.
And
Yeah.
most people
150
don't
million.
know that.
And it was very interesting to see how the poor people live. You see.
So education
And it was
at
about
any
microloans,
age, right?
microloans.
Education at any age, Jerry.
Of
no matter.
course, of course. You know, there's a line in the show Mame, see, where the
Yes.
leading character says, you know, the world is a banquet and most of the people are starving to death. And this is what she means. People don't take advantage of things that are right there for them, see?
So no matter your age out there, guys, investigate free courses. And there are free courses online. There are free courses in your community.
They only allow you 3
Yeah.
courses, you see. I would take more, but they
Three.
only
Oh, they
allow
allow.
you 3.
Yeah, you go. Is it if your schedule like could permit anything else, Jerry? It sounds like you got a packed calendar. So, Katie, what's the? I mean, I'm sure it's really hard to say, but what are the most incredible things or surprising things you've learned from this relationship with Jerry?
I would say probably we really do have a lot more in common than you think.
Yeah.
You know, you're thinking we're how many decades apart? Seven
70
decades apart.
years.
Turn
7
27.
Yeah,
decades.
26 and
7
yeah,
Yeah,
96.
and at first
yeah.
people are like, how could you even connect with someone that's that much
Yeah.
older than you?
Isn't that
But-
amazing that people would think that,
Yeah.
though?
Yeah, it's just my
That's what we have
friend-
to change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But
Yeah.
now, you know, all my friends that are my age are just blown away by Jerry. Now, like I said, they are inspired
And
as
by
well.
the way, I met
So
her friends and I love them. They were wonderful.
And I'm sure they love
they're
you
all
as
his
well.
adopted
Yeah.
great granddaughters.
I love them.
I would say, I mean, even politics, we see eye to eye on all that, and so
Yes.
we have so much to talk about, especially during. Poor Jerry was with me at my office. He comes to my office a lot to see all my coworkers. We have happy hours. We had a happy hour for election day,
I'm
and we were all
invited by KBK
excited.
is the one, yeah.
One of my coworkers bought him a huge bottle of champagne for him specifically to pop when Hillary won the election.
Wow,
Needless
well, that
to
one's
say, we were all
still-
pretty shocked.
That one's hanging around.
That was
so,
a
yeah.
little rough. So poor Jerry was not his best day. But no, yeah, I would say surprising. Not really. I think there's just so many things that we've just learned from each other, and we just really get along.
So isn't this the secret to really bringing the boundaries down and ending divisions and ending judgment and through heart connection and sharing our stories so that these perceptions sort of naturally fall away?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
I would say one other tip that you probably have said about education is one, but connecting. I think his social life is what's kept him so young.
right.
He calls his family that's in Florida all the time. Calls them constantly. Has lunch and dinner dates with his friends. I think even my experience with seniors, the seniors that are very social and get out of the house and actually have a packed schedule, live a lot longer and a lot happier than those that kind of just stay in their home all day.
You see, fortunately, my memory is still good. About 8 years ago, I decided to write my memoirs. See? Before that, people used to say to me, Jerry, you've had such an interesting life. Why don't you put it on paper, for your family, for your friends? It would be a nice legacy. But I thought, who's going to bother, But what happened was, shortly after that, they started building 2 apartment buildings simultaneously right outside my window. The noise was deafening. Cement trucks rolling back and forth, pneumatic drills, carpenters banging. I thought, gee, this is a good time to go to the library. It was nice and quiet. While I can still remember these things, I wrote 118 vignettes, short stories, a beginning, a middle, and an end. 2-3 pages. That's it.
Now, can people find this anywhere?
No,
Your
no,
stories?
no.
Nope.
I haven't had it published. I've had
Okay.
it printed. I have it in a book form.
We might need to get this published.
Yeah, if there's any
See?
publishers
Yeah,
out
any
there.
publishers out
exactly.
there, I think
Well,
we need to get this published.
On that subject, I was planning a trip to New York, and I went to New York one day, and there was a company called Vantage Press that will self-publish your book. See, I sent them a manuscript. I came to their office. I wanted to see if they're legitimate. They occupy a whole floor on East Park Avenue, New York. They're a big firm. And they said, we read your manuscript. Yes, it should be published. it should be in soft cover and sell for $14.95. I said, how much is that going to cost me? You know, they said $4,000. So I thought, gee, there are books written by famous people in Barnes and Noble. Nobody picks them up. Who ever heard of Jerry Rosenblum? You know. So
Well, I
said, "Let me
think you might want to
about it.
rethink that.
Let me think about it. See? And I haven't done anything since. But since then, I understand you can self-publish much, much more reasonably. See. So I'm going to look into that.
Good.
You're looking at we've got an audience out there who knows
And
somebody who
since
might
then,
be reaching out.
since then, I could add a half a dozen more chapters because things have happened to me.
Well, I think people also really want to know your secrets to not just longevity, but longevity and through a life that's so full and positive, and you're such an inspiration.
I always have something to look forward to. That's the most important thing. See, when I wake up in the morning, I'm lying back on the pillow, and before I do a little exercise while I'm in bed, I think, what am I going to do today, you know? And I think of a half a dozen things that I want to do, see? And I bought a book recently written by Carl Reiner, see? The book is called Now I'm 94. I went to the book signing, bought his book, and in the book he describes what he does in the morning while he's lying in bed. He raises his leg up high, see, and rotates his foot 20 times this way and 20 times that way. He does the same thing with the other foot. It helps the blood circulate into the legs, you see. And I noticed when he walked into the book signing at the Martin Luther King Auditorium at the library, he walked without a cane, see. He didn't walk very fast, but he walked without a cane, walked up to the stage. And during the question and answer period, I said, you know, Carl, you and I have a couple of things in common. He said, really, what's that? I said, well, we're both in our 90s, and we're both in New York, for one thing. See? And we both wrote our memoirs. So in my book, he wrote, to Jerry Roosevelt, a kindred spirit.
Aw, that's amazing. So what I get from that our audience can really take, number one, wake up to look forward to something.
Absolutely.
That gets you in an instantly positive mood. And number two, go on Jerry_Rosenblum on Instagram, because those exercises are there. Aren't they? There's a little
They
video
are.
of you doing these exercises.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
if you
the
want to
secrets are there.
demonstrate it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Show us.
Should I get
Do you
up
want to
here?
show?
No, right here is good.
Right here?
Do your neck ones.
Well,
Do
you
your
see,
neck ones.
in the morning when I wake up, after you wake up, you have to wake up your body as well. See, so I get my head and I twist it as far over as I can to the right. Same thing with the left. See, and I count about 12, and then I release it, and then I rotate my head 12 times this way, 12 times that way. See, and then I do a little shoulder
cracking.
exercise. See.
Yeah.
12 times each way, see? And this way, 12 times. Same one with the other arm. Over my head, same thing, 12, see? And then 12 times this way, see? Now I'm ready for this
arm
exercise.
circles.
I do that 25 times.
You do this every day.
See?
Every morning.
Every
Then
day.
I bend
Oh,
over
that's my favorite part, guys.
and
Yeah.
rotate my body.
Ooh,
See, from the
we're
hip.
gonna do, yeah.
See?
Big
That's
hip
fun.
circles.
I can't
You
do it.
really
25
get
times.
into it.
Okay, we'll do
25
this when he
times the other
sings.
way.
What do you think?
Yeah.
We can do
See?
this when he sings.
Yes, and that's how I end the exercise. Now, where did I get this exercise from? I'll tell you how it happened. When I was working in the men's clothing business in New York, I had a bad back. I had lifted something the wrong way. Nobody showed me how to lift, and I strained my back very badly, to the effect that I had to wear a corset to keep straight, and I was still in pain. Went to a chiropractor. It was just temporary relief. It didn't help. And one day I was in the store working, selling clothing, and there was an osteopath, a customer of ours, who knew me. He said, Jerry, you got a pained expression on your face. Are you in trouble? I said, well, my back hurts. He says, here's my card. Make an appointment. I want to look at your back. I made an appointment. He took x-rays. He said, Jerry, you're in luck. You don't need an operation. If you do these exercises that I show you, you'll be fine. You'll throw away the corset. You won't have to. And that's
Wow.
exactly what I did.
I sense
I've been
like-
doing it since then, 55 years ago.
55, and look at this. So
Every
you guys,
morning,
it works.
every morning.
Jerry
Pain is
_
gone.
Rosenblum. Check out the video. But I sense maybe somebody tapping into publishing a Jerry kind of yoga. This is basically your own form of
Do you
yoga.
ever do yoga, Jerry?
Yoga. That is basically yoga. That's bed yoga.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is. It's your own
Yeah.
form. So
Well,
I
the
think we should
exercise
get
I
this.
showed you, I don't do in bed. The only one I do is Carl
Okay,
Reiner's
so
exercise.
just
I like.
out of bed yoga,
When
morning
I'm out
yoga.
of bed, I do that.
think
Watching the news.
I think
and
that's
the
the-
stock market.
That's the coolest thing ever. So you guys make sure to do that. Think about that, what it's done. Clearly 55 years. That's crazy. So I think on this note, we're about to sort of wrap it, getting at the end of the hour.
Okay.
And I really want to hear that. I mean, I think our audience wants to, I know I do selfishly. I want to hear you sing. I want to hear you sing.
Because Jerry, if I heard correctly, you used to just sing it in the shower until you were 69
right.
years old.
62.
Yes,
Is it
that's
69?
correct.
69. You're right. It was
Right?
69.
That's correct.
Must
Yes.
be
So
69.
I know I like to sing in the shower
Yes.
too. So I've got 13 more years of training before I can.
When
come
I
out
was
in public.
69, I knew 3 songs by heart: the Star Spangled Banner, God Bless America, and Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Chattanooga
So I sang Chattanooga Choo Choo,
right?
and the mistress of ceremony said, "From now on, you're going to sing every Tuesday. We're signing you to a contract." She's kidding.
There you go.
I had to learn new songs. Now we got 100 songs committed to memory.
And
You know any
keep 'em-
Bruce Springsteen at all or anything like that, or?
No, he's not one. He's not one of them. No, I grew up with Frank Sinatra, Perry
Of course,
Como,
of
Tony
course,
Bennett.
Yep.
See?
Lawrence
those are
Welk.
better.
Those are the
Yep,
songs I
Lawrence
sing,
Welk,
yeah.
I get it.
And he keeps a
So-
song list in his wallet at all times in case someone needs to request
These are
a
what I
song.
know,
We are
right?
going
Yeah.
to,
All right,
we
so
are
here we
gonna
go.
have you here. We're gonna hit it here.
You tell me
We
when
are-
you're ready.
Tell me when you're
Ready.
ready. You're ready. Okay, you guys
He's
ready
always
for
ready.
this? He's always
Always
ready.
ready.
Okay, here we go.
If you need a background singer, I'll be ready.
Fairy tales can come true. It could happen to you if you're young at heart. And it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. You can go to extremes with impossible schemes. You can laugh when your dreams fall apart at the seams. And life gets more exciting with each passing day. For love is either in your heart or on its way. Don't you know that it's worth every treasure on earth to be young at heart? And as rich as you are, it's much better by far to be young at heart. And if you should survive to 105, think of all you derive just by being alive. And here's the best part: you have a head start if you are among the very young at heart.
All right. Yeah,
Bring it, brother. Now that is
Frank
amazing.
Sinatra, eat your heart out.
Eat your heart out, right? So we have the one and only Jerry Rosenblum here. Oh my gosh, this has been an incredible day. Like I said, it is not every day that you get to meet someone like you and a couple, a
thank you
pair,
so much.
you know, bridging the gap. And I hope this
And it isn't every day that I get to meet 2 lovely people like you two.
Aw, thank
I
you
really mean
so
that.
much.
It's
Thank
just-
you.
I sincerely mean that.
We've been looking
done.
forward to this show for a while, Jerry.
I was
Yeah.
really looking forward to this
Trust
myself.
me.
We
You
Yes.
really was.
So much.
Thank you so
well,
much.
something tells me
Yeah.
you're probably going to get an invite back.
Yeah,
so-
I have a feeling pretty
With
much
Peggy.
open.
Peggy is-
then you can do it at my house.
With Peggy.
So we have,
And
yeah,
and
exactly.
that'll be a duet,
Yeah,
right? You
and
gotta
we
learn
can,
a
you
new
can bring the puppy
song.
if we do it at my house
Yeah,
too. You
yeah.
can bring the puppy. We
We
can
can
have a
do
whole
that.
free for all. In fact, it could be a horse, but not really. So you guys,
I'm available whenever you tell me.
All right.
Just
Awesome.
give me
We
a
would
couple of days' notice.
just a couple days to fit into your schedule. We'll try to
Exactly.
fit into that schedule, that
Exactly.
social schedule.
Right.
So you guys, if you are not inspired by today's show, I don't know what'll light you fire to get out there and live life, look forward to life, wake up with something to look forward to in your day. Watch Jerry, those exercises. I sense there's a video coming soon, and bridge the gap. Reach out, bridge the gap, find someone, a different generation, share your story, listen to someone else's story, and watch the world change. You know, this is pretty amazing stuff. So thank you, Katie Miller. Thank you so much for running Jerry's social media, for all the amazing things that you're doing to really inspire others to bridge the gap. And Jerry, thank you for being here. We look forward to many more times with you.
Thank you for inviting me. It
Thank you for
was a
having
joyous
us.
experience.
Thank you so
I
much.
enjoyed it so much, really.
Well, out there in the Forever Fierce Revolution, I hope you're inspired today. I know we are. And thank you so much for tuning in. Bridge the gap with us, and make sure to share that podcast and head over to Jerry_Rosenblum, and your day will be, lifted instantaneously. So on that, thanks for being here. Go Irish Photog, and cheers, beauties. Stay fierce.
You're listening to Forever Fierce with Catherine Grace O'Connell, only on LA Talk Radio.